Jen, it's you time. Time for ashwagandha.
People can't tolerate their sweet potatoes. No, at some level, we're all being somewhat harmed.
Wait. What?
We're all being somewhat harmed.
Gathering here, today we talk about what can really make a difference with CKD. I've been working with people suffering from kidney disease for more than 10 years now, and I've met many people who were able to improve their levels. Some of them were even able to bring their GFR back to 60, back to normal. But on the other hand, I've also seen people that despite all their best efforts weren't able to get the results they wanted. And in many cases, the reason was one of the 5 mistakes we are going to see in today's video. There are 5 mistakes, 5 hidden dangers you must never fall for. Fact: there is no chance of improving, no chance of avoiding being tied to a machine if you make one or more of these mistakes. Because it's not the stage of kidney disease you are in that determines your chances at improving your creatinine levels, says science. It's what you do every day. Yes, this study proved once and for all that even those in stage 4 and 5 can improve, but they must be very careful with their diet, with their vitamins, and with the supplements they take. And for sure, you must know about and avoid the 5 mistakes of this video if you want to improve. Let's see what they are now. Let's start with a mistake that many people are making today, right when they are trying to take care of themselves. Maybe because they watch this commercial. Let's take a look.
Jen, it's you time. Time for ashwagandha.
Yeah, Jen, it's you time. But have you really brought good into the world today? Or is that a dangerous bad habit that you are trying to sell us? Because there is no denying that ashwagandha has become incredibly popular today. Many people swear by this adaptogen because it really helps them relaxing after a stressful day, they say. And many supplement brands are starting to put it in everything. Not just gummies, but also in sleep-promoting preparations, in nootropics, in oils, in patches, in supplements for men, and in supplements for kids. Do kids really need ashwagandha now? Well, according to Jennifer Lopez and many other celebrities and spokespeople, of course they do, just like everyone else. But ashwagandha may be very dangerous for you if you have CKD. Why is ashwagandha bad for the kidneys? There is very limited research on the safety of ashwagandha on the kidneys. There is, however, some research even showing possible damage to the kidneys and liver. There is also research linking ashwagandha to worsen hyperthyroidism, which could even cause kidney damage. And ashwagandha also seems to interact with many common medications, including those for diabetes, thyroid, cholesterol, or hypertension. Even worse, this incredibly common supplement has been linked to cases of kidney transplant rejection. Yes, there are documented cases of people losing their transplanted kidney after taking ashwagandha. So be very careful with this incredibly popular supplement, especially if you are taking medications or if you received a transplant. And you know, many people take ashwagandha because it works like some sort of happy pill for them. It's very difficult to give up something like that. So Be careful. And what's worse than taking a supplement that damages your kidneys? Well, the next mistake, which is actually one of the greatest dangers of our times. Number 4 is falling for online misinformation. Yes, this is way more dangerous than people think, because one thing is being fed misinformation by advertising. We know that we are not supposed to trust what ads say, alright? But what about influencers and online experts? They are supposed to know a lot about their topic and people tend to trust them. Now, I learned about the next piece of misinformation from a comment from one of you guys. I'll read it. Here is your number 1 misinformation on oxalates. Sally Norton, the worst advice. So one of my subscribers, David Garlinger, thinks that Sally Norton is the actual number 1 when it comes to misinformation about oxalates. But is he right? Let's see. Now this video started in a bad way already from the thumbnail. No, plants are not toxic. Then, however, it got immediately worse.
Hey guys, just want to take a second to thank our sponsor, Carnivore Bar. I don't promote many products because honestly all you need to be healthy is to just eat meat.
This is gonna be real bad. Why is everyone promoting the avoidance of vegetables in the pocket of some keto or carnivore company? Now after that, here's the gold nugget of misinformation.
I was in some odd case where suddenly, some people can't tolerate their sweet potatoes. No, like at some level, we're all being somewhat harmed.
Wait. What?
So we are all
level,
being
we're
harmed
all
by
being
potatoes,
somewhat
she
harmed.
says. It must be some sort of a potato ploy to take over the world or something like that. Then she proceeds to explain that kidney patients need to avoid oxalate more than anyone else.
I was quite aware of oxalates because it causes kidney stones. So I knew that kidney patients need a low oxalate diet.
Which is also misinformation, by the way. Then she goes on saying that she started to remove oxalates from her diet because she was suffering from an idiopathic condition. And did she start to feel better?
With the low oxalate diet, it actually can make you feel
No,
worse.
she didn't. She felt worse. So she's now avoiding potatoes and she's even worse. And did she decide to abandon this crazy idea of removing veggies from her diet? Of course not. Eventually, her solution was to just stop eating all veggies. She calls it oxalate dumping, and I bet she tells you all about it in her book. I'm not going any deeper because I don't want to propagate even more misinformation. But the bottom line is, just go full carnivore, she says. Don't worry if all that meat destroys your kidneys. As long as you stop potatoes from, harming you. So yeah, it looks like my subscriber was right after all. This is very bad. I mean, she could have followed an elimination diet and she could have found out the cause of her problem, instead of putting her kidneys in danger by following and promoting a fad diet. Now guys, keep in mind that this kind of dietary activism, which is always promoted by people selling books or something like that, is dangerous for people with CKD. Because while there are some people who are sensitive to oxalates, it's not the majority of people. The majority of people, including most kidney patients, is not sensitive to oxalate. This is why we have dietary guidelines. So, what should you do with oxalates? Follow current guideline for the renal diet, which is encourage all patients with CKD to improve fruit and vegetables intake. Yes, today people with CKD are recommended to eat more spinach, kale, broccoli, and the other super healthy veggies out there. So it's not me debunking the misinformation about oxalate, it's the guideline. In conclusion, don't worry about oxalate and don't trust anyone telling you that the carnivore diet is good for you. They are probably trying to sell you a book or something like that. Now guys, there are also people who are actually sensitive to oxalate. This is why I've made a full video about this topic. It's up here and also down in description. But don't go away now. There are 3 mistakes that can be even more dangerous. I'm talking in particular about a bad habit that may actually make your GFR decline faster. Luckily, this is also something we can fix. Number 3, not following a diet rich in veggies and low in protein. Yes, this is very dangerous. And while this serious mistake may be a direct consequence of the kind of misinformation we just learned about, there are also people who are simply not informed. But you see, today's guideline is very clear on this. People with kidney disease in all the stages and despite diabetes status need to focus on a diet that's low or very low in protein and high in fruit and veggies. There is no improving if you don't follow this requirement. So every time someone asks me why they aren't improving, what I want to ask them is always the same thing. Are you being strict with your low protein diet? Because if you follow me here regularly, you probably already know that following a low or very low protein diet is basically the rule now for anyone with CKD, including people with diabetes. But you see, only a diet that truly adheres to strict protein restriction is supported by science. And adherence is made even more difficult by believing in misinformation. Clearly. So if you want to get informed about the low protein diet, I made a new video about it recently. I've also tried to answer some of the most important questions about it. The video is up here and also down in the description if you missed it. Up next, a serious mistake that may damage your kidneys in a very sneaky way. Not knowing about this very underrated correlation may be very dangerous. Let's take a look. Number 2, not supplementing folic acid if you are taking an ACE inhibitor. ACE inhibitors are very commonly recommended by nephrologists to help hypertension in people with reduced GFR. While these medicines are often touted as lifesavers and they can really help, we also know that they also present several unwanted effects, sometimes dangerous. In particular, those taking ACE inhibitors without also supplementing folic acid may face a faster decline in GFR, says a very large study. The study I'm referring to was conducted on 15,104 people with hypertension and reduced GFR and lasted more than 4 years. The conclusion it reached is pretty solid. Taking folic acid with an ACE inhibitor means protecting your kidneys. We believe that the reason behind this may be hyperuricemia or too high uric acid in the body. Folic acid can really help with that. And while this is still being studied today, there is enough science to be sure that you want to take 0.8 milligrams of folic acid per day, especially if you are taking an ACE inhibitor. Now, folic acid is something you can also get from foods. Leafy greens, especially spinach and kale, but also many fruits, including citrus fruits and berries, are all great sources of it. There is another vitamin, on the other hand, that you will never be able to get from foods. Vitamin B12. Unfortunately, not having enough vitamin B12 may cause or worsen one of the worst causes of kidney damage. This is why this very dangerous mistake is our number 1 for today. Number 1, letting anemia go unchecked. Anemia is a very dangerous cause of kidney damage. It's not just caused by B12 deficiency, a vitamin that everyone following a plant-based diet must supplement. It's also caused by kidney disease. It's impossible to improve your kidney health without first taking care of anemia. Now the worst part. According to recent statistics, up to 72.8% of kidney disease sufferers also have anemia. And that's a frightening number of people. Almost 3 out of 4 CKD sufferers. And unfortunately, only 4% of people with this problem are receiving the appropriate attention. Even worse, most people with anemia are not even having their iron levels checked. So very important, if you have any reason to believe that you are not receiving the appropriate attention for this dangerous issue, get informed now. And in my video up here, I've shared with you all you need to know about anemia and how to take care of it. And this is all for today. Thank you for watching. God bless you all.